Welcome, my fellow Beastmen, to the showdown between the Beastmen, who shall be led by Flying Taco, and the Tomb Kings, who are going to be helmed by Hubert J. Farnsworth. So certainly going to be a fun showdown. A matchup that I think historically certainly favored the Tomb Kings, as the Beastmen do really struggle with some of the big constructs. But I think the advent of these glorious piggy boys might have changed the metagame quite a bit. So as far as the Beastmen army goes, here in the front line, it looks like it's going to be Goreherds and Ungors, which is pretty standard stuff. And Goreherds do very well against Tomb King's infantry. They have really good offensive stats with 41 melee attack, 36 weapon strength, and a really substantial charge bonus actually of 28. So if they're able to get into skeleton spears, skeleton warriors, even against Tomb Guard, they are going to be able to butter that bread pretty quickly. So I like the Goreherd pick. However, they're very squishy themselves. So if they're facing off against constructs like Tomb Scorpions, Necrosphinxes, USHABTI, things like that, they often do get terror-routed rather quickly. Granted, they are immune to psychology initially, because of their Primal Fury. If you guys go and take a look here, some of you guys may not have seen this, gives them a charge bonus of 8%, melee attack speed, and immunity to psychology, but it is conditional on their leadership being above 50%. So a little bit of back and forth there. On top of that, we got Razorgore herds. Looks like there's going to be pigs going into the sunset. And I remember when Beastmen first came out, and even for a long time in like Warhammer 1, people really didn't use the Razorgore herds that much. But nonetheless, these guys have really been making a comeback. Very good at blitzing, pretty good mass, solid AP. And honestly, if they can get a good surround on a construct, kind of pin that thing in, they can get some pretty good damage in, and are certainly no joke. So these wild hogs going to be going pretty deep, I'm sure. On top of that, just like chaff in the front line, looks like there is one group of chariots to try and punch through, maybe if there's like a big formation of skeletons or archers. He also has a Big Papa Gorbel. Can't complain about Gorbel. He's probably going to be getting punted, but he is a good anti-large option despite him being punted and some mass issues. I've seen Gorbel do very well. It kind of brings me back to the some of the Everchosens. I think it was a game where I think Aerocrastic was playing against Soothsayer, and I think he went with like double Gorbel. Was able to really fend off some pretty heavy Bretonnian pressure, but I can't remember if that was the game. But yeah, Gorbel can do work. He's got a Brace Shaman, Lore of Wild, so it looks like a Cygor Summon and Vile Tide. Morkor the Shadowgave, always a solid competitive pick, especially against Ark in the Black. Like if you bring Kazrak, you're going to get Spirit Leech into the Shadow Realm and sniped, but Morkor can take a beating like a champ. Good HP pool and Chaos Spawn summons, can't complain. So for his opponent, the great Hubert here, it looks like he does have the Sphinx of Usef here. Pretty good anti-large. I like that pick as well. Certainly can beat a Gorbel in a vacuum, but yeah, he is a terror in the night for sure. Skeletons in the front line for the most part, which are going to be supported by a USHABTI battle line. And the USHABTI here are, quite good against a lot of the stuff you see. They'll tear apart Goreherd, they can pressure into the Beastmen infantry core, and yeah, do some good stuff. Double Necrotect as well, so going to be getting the double Wonder Woman build here. One of them does have all the juicy buffs, so he's very much going for a Death Star style of play where he's going to be very high and tight here. The Van Braces of the Sun is actually a really underrated item. It lowers melee attack of everyone nearby, which is very substantial. Missile resist, and the last one I think gives melee attack. So yeah, constructs, especially the USHABTI, going to be quite juicy with the Wrath of the Creator here. For the Lord, he's got Ark in the Black on foot, Spirit Leech and Buna, no surprises there. Here he does have Skeleton Archers and Spears. Yeah, very much a defensive Helm's Deep. Beastmen are one of the better factions at kind of swarming and surrounding and kind of getting into all those places you don't want them to be. So having a defensive Death Star like this, I think, is a pretty cost-effective way to deal with the Beastmen. And as far as the positioning goes, it looks like the Tomb Kings are going to be advancing out of their very lackluster forest here. Certainly not much space to work with as it pertains to kind of using the trees to your advantage. But I guess it would probably hurt them more than anything because the trees do penalize bigger things like USHABTI and this big Kemrian or Necrosphinx. So he's going to be advancing out here, and it looks like the Beast people are going to be going for the Classics round, and I really actually like what the Beastmen are doing here. So essentially, he's falling back with the weaker assets of his army. So the Ungor Spears and these troops here are falling back, and then he's kind of getting even more of an envelop, which I think is it's not only very thematic, but it's also going to be good because this formation of the Tomb Kings, it just wants a head-up fight. It wants a blob fight. It just wants to go fisticuffs. It doesn't really want to be attacked from multiple angles, surrounded, and kind of pulled apart. But anyways, here the Big Sphinx thinking about going in. It looks like he was just about to cleave a bunch of those Ungor Spearman herds, but at the last second, he's like, you know what, you guys are cool. We're going to leave you be. And it looks like the Chaos Warhounds at the back looking for some opportunities. Not too many good targets for them. There's no I guess the Skeleton Archers if you can get on those guys, but nonetheless, we'll see how that goes. Ungor Spearman herds are going to be advancing. Should most certainly be cleaved by the Sphinx here, but if they get any damage at all, I guess that's nice, right? The Sphinx is taking a little bit of poke here. Oh, that guy just got tossed up in there and cut in half. Lovely stuff. You can see his beast carcass getting launched over there. Goreherds are going to be engaging on the flank. The USHABTI will be piling in as well. USHABTI do have that bonus versus infantry, so they're going to be able to really help out against the Goreherds, but surprised. It's not like the same burst damage coming in from like a Kemrian War Sphinx. A nice Vile Tide right there coming in from the Beast Herd. And it looks like the Ungor Raiders are now going to be shooting at the Skeleton Archers, which I think is quite an ideal target. Now, this is something I'm kind of interested to see, how Razorgore herds actually perform against like USHABTI and some of those kind of lower tier constructs. In the meantime, Necrotechs here are going to be helping to hold up this flank. And of course, they have the restores and the heals for the USHABTI if they start to take any heavy damage. And it looks like Morkor is going to be dropping his first Chaos Spawn summon here, which can certainly lead to the crumbling of these skeletons very, very quickly. On the other side of the battlefield, Skeleton Spears and USHABTI are trying to hold as well, and it seems like the Tomb King formation is holding for the most part. Granted, they are getting crumbled pretty fast as it pertains to infantry here on the side. Libra Mortis is going down, which is going to give him some nice physical resist, but that Vile Tide spam is pretty good. I mean, what's really cool about it too is it also, I believe, helps with the fatigue levels of your various characters. The Gorbel right here is going to be getting karate slapped here by the Sphinx, and he's taking a little bit of damage, certainly on the losing end of that duel so far, but the Gorbel is going to be able to get away. It looks like the Spirit Leech is going to be going down, so really, really good target priority there for the Tomb Kings. It's an isolated target. It's one of the few situations, as far as this like matchup goes, or this build, that the Sphinx is going to be in a great situation, right? Versus another large entity that's armored. Very, very good stuff. So Spirit Lich going down. Gorbel's at about half health here. Morgr the Shadowgave in there fighting against the King Nikesha's Scorpion Legion. And it seems like the Chaos Spawn are being pushed in to go after the Skeleton Archers. And the Raiders, it looks like they were not actually shooting the Skeleton Archers, which are still pretty healthy. But as far as the main fight goes, it's pretty much going to devolve into, you know, the big monster is facing off against hordes of beast infantry. That's usually how this matchup goes. And the USHABTI here on the ground actually getting taken out rather quickly. Another beautiful Vile Tide. I love that play from Flying Taco. Such a good spell, actually really underrated. But it seems like the USHABTI are really getting crumped pretty bad. I mean, the pigs are taking them apart. And plus, I mean, these little spears, though they don't have the best AP, they still have a bonus for large, so that's pretty substantial here. So you can see the USHABTI are being forced back. So good play here from the Tomb King player, realizing this flank is lost, and he needs to, like, centralize his army right now. His Necrotect has a couple abilities that have an AoE debuff, the Van Braces of the Sun, which lower a couple stats. So, I mean, yeah, fighting in a blob is going to be the way to go for him. I mean, getting, you know, pulled apart like he was before, I think it was really, really rough. Now, over here on the far side, it looks like some Razorgore herds are either being left in reserve or have been forgotten, but they're certainly going to be helpful when they come in to finish off some of these USHABTI. But I really like that he's going after the Gorbel, just trying to snipe out one of the true dedicated, like, anti-large assets here, because aside from that, let's look at the Beastmen army. Like, what do they have that's going to be super good against the big old Sphinx? I mean, the pigs aren't bad, for sure, but again, you know, they don't have the best sustainability. They have a pretty low leadership, and of course their defensive stats are quite poor. But you never underestimate, you know, the outcome of a game when pigs are here. You know, they're quite ferocious beasts. The Gore herds here, 77 models. Looks like 56 right here. Kind of reminds me of a story, but I don't want to go on a whole tangent because this game's quite close. I'll tell you guys in the post-battle if I remember. Ungor Raiders going to be running away from the Summit USHABTI, so the Tomb Kings are dropping, you know, quite a few assets here to try and hold down this formation, but, you know, the Bounce Power is still ebbing into the favor of the Beastmen, and I actually don't know if there's any summons left for the Beastmen. I don't think there's any Chaos Spawn left. So the bounce power, as you see it, is actually fairly accurate. And you can see here that the big old Sphinx here still holding its own. A Cygor summon has been... Oh, never mind. Okay, so there's a Cygor summon that just came down. So that is probably affecting the bounce power. USHABTI are all very low. We have 11 models right here. We have 10 right here. And although that big Sphinx is going to be really, really tough to take down because of the double restore, and I don't think I've seen the Tomb Kings use too many restores so far this battle, so I think the USHABTI, yeah, there's one right there, so that's going to be healing up these USHABTI, but I still think there's probably at least one or two more charges left between those two Necrotechs, which is going to be very good on this big Sphinx. The Beastmen still have a ton of infantry left. The Ungor Spears are certainly chipping things down, and yeah, the USHABTI still getting worn down, but holding on in critical binding, not really crumbling yet, which is quite important. Raiders are pretty good on ammunition as well, surprisingly. So maybe they were kind of running for quite some time, so I think they had some time to kind of buy their ammunition. But balance of power going even more and more into the favor of the beast people here. And also you can see the Raiders still shooting in, going after the Necro Sphinx. Not a bad idea, probably the best bet. I mean, the USHABTI will slowly crumble to some of the chaffier units, whereas this big boy is like going to be a real meaty one to take down. But you can see here the big old Cygor doing some work, but guys, a huge curse going down. That is actually big. The curse hits all the beast chaff, and you can see it's actually doing a lot of damage against these lower tier troops like these Gore herds and these Ungors. And look at the massive exodus for the Beastmen. Man, that curse is so strong. And the summon Cygor is gone. So suddenly a situation that looks like, you know, oh, the Tomb Kings are done for. They're surrounded. They're going down. Is like, oh, they're back in business, baby. And you can see here that we do have the Glorious Sphinx. It's somewhat stabilized. Morgr the Shadowgave's a little bit surrounded. The pigs are breaking off. And like I said, the pigs don't have the best sustainability. But, you know, the one upside of, I mean, it's not even an upside, but the one thing that I'm sure he'll realize is that when he sees these Razorgore herds, it's going to be like a huge boon that he still has some AP left on the battlefield. Morgr the Shadowgave getting slapped with a Spirit Leech right here. And he's doing pretty good against USHABTI. The Razorgore Chariot has pretty good AP values itself. So if it comes in, it might be able to kind of burn down a couple of USHABTI, or at least rear charge them so they crumble a little bit quicker. In the meantime, we have the big Necro Sphinx here, still karate chopping whatever beasts it can. And the beasts are going to be surging back in, so we got Ungor Spears, we got Poison Hounds, we have all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and it looks like there's going to be a skeleton summon coming in from Arc in the Black. And Necrotechs aren't slouches either, as it pertains to their combat stats. They have 50 melee attack, 35 melee defense, not the best, you know, armor and things like that. So even the beast kind of chaff lines can do some okay work against them. But still, they're heroic units. They're not pushovers. It's going to be tough to kind of burn down all that HP right there. But I think if the Beastmen are able to kind of drag down the big guy here, it's going to make it much easier for them to just kind of grind down the Necrotechs. Although the Brave Shaman's going down here pretty quick. Spirit Leech coming down, which is going to be nice. I mean, it's still a mobile armor piercing unit, so getting rid of that is very, very valuable here for the Tomb Kings. Thankfully for the Beastmen, though, Morka the Shadow Gave's holding on. Tomb King's doing a really good job clawing their way back into this game, staying resilient with some really good summons here. And I do like the Necrotech plays. Necrotechs are really fun units to watch. So there's some pigs coming back in. They're just kind of on the rotator belt here, just going back and forth and back and forth. The skeleton summons will be disappearing relatively soon. I might actually wait for those guys to kind of disappear before charging back in. But nonetheless, the Beastmen, they're out for blood, and the Call of Violence has been popped. And, you know, Morker, the Shadow Give, is a little bit trapped up, so there is some urgency with getting in there and helping on Morker. The Sphinx taking like 1 damage at a time from their arrows. It barely does anything. The AP value on Raiders is incredibly low. But these Raiders have, let's go ahead and take a look at the shots. They got 5 shots left. These ones have 5. So a couple of volleys will be coming in. Maybe enough to put the Sphinx down to like, 1,500, 1,400 HP, give or take, depending on the accuracy of their shots. And Morker the Shadow Give is in a glorious duel with the Necrotech. And the Bounce Power actually pulls back into the favor of the Beastmen, as they do get a second wind in there. And suddenly the grand plan of the Bray herd, the Razorgore herds, which have been left in reserve here, are going to be coming in with a deep charge. And that is going to be no joke. As he potentially do some really good work against these guys. I mean, those pigs in the fourth quarter, that is something, because without the pigs, the bounce power would probably be pretty even, if not in the favor of the Tomb Kings. But the pigs coming in here, going to be getting that sweet bacon charge, and Ark in the Black is, armored, so the AP of these pigs is going to be quite helpful. And you can see here, as soon as they get in here, some of the USHABTI and some of the lower tier constructs are going to be crumbling rather quickly. The Sphinx is going down as well, 700 HP. Man, he is getting burned down. Morker the Shadow Give getting in there with his claw, and these pigs are really holding quite firm as they're able to do some pretty good damage against Arkin and these Necrotechs here on charge. Now let's go ahead and take inventory of the battlefield. Typically, you're not going to see anything loose for the Tomb Kings around the periphery because obviously, their stuff's going to crumble instead of running. But the Beastmen have some Raiders. They have Raiders here and a couple, beat up spears. But it's still scary. I mean, Ark in the Black plus Necrotechs. Oh, and the Necro Sphinx does go down to the pigs. The onslaught of bacon doing outstanding work. But guys, we still have 2 Wonder Womans right here. Plus, we do also have Ark in the Black, who's a pretty good combatant. And he probably still has access to maybe 1 more Spirit Leech plus a Skeleton Summon. Because I think you start with, like, how many charges is it? Is it 3 or 5 with the Tomb Blade of Arkin? I think it's quite a bit. And that Skeleton Summon, I mean, even though the bounce power is for the Beastmen, I actually think it's not as bad as it looks. The double Necrotechs do have a bonus versus infantry, so there's a pretty good chance that they can work down Morker the Shadow Gave, especially with some Skeleton support. And if there's a Spirit Leech in reserve, that really does change the dynamic. But it looks like they might just get slapped with army losses, though. It's getting to that point. If Morker can get like 1 or 2 really big blows here on the Necrotechs, maybe. Oh, nice Vile Tide by the Beastmen there. Able to really cleave a hole in those skeletons, taking about 13 models instantly, but also doing a lot of HP damage. Ark in the Black is going to be taking some fire from the Raiders, which actually might trigger army losses. But guys, look at this. This is what I was talking about. Morker the Shadow Gave is getting straight up Wonder Woman here. Just beaten down by their lassos of truth. And he's got, negative 14, and that's huge. So suddenly the Tomb Kings are back in the game. Now, what do the Beastmen have left? They have a lot of stuff. I mean, they got pigs, and if Morker lives... Oh my god, did Morker shatter? Oh, Morker just got killed! He got taken out by the Wonder Womans. Well, I guess they're Wonder Men, whatever the hell we want to call them. But nonetheless, Morker the Shadow Gave got taken out, and that's what I was saying. 360 plus a bonus for his infantry, and Morker doesn't have a lot of armor. So if they're able to isolate him and get some really good damage, I mean, there's certainly a chance that it can go pretty grim bones for him. So here we have the Beast People charging in, Ungor Spearmen, just from every angle. Raiders are coming in, they got their little daggers out, and they have 25 melee attack, not terrible. And it looks like the Ray Shaman's charging in. He's actually shaken. I mean, he could go down rather quickly. You got to be careful with this guy because Beastmen are a faction that's pretty fickle on leadership. Negative 20 here, but man, look how close this is. This is insane. Everything is so low. 561 right here, 791. These guys have 887, and the Beastmen are charging in. The last stand of Ark in the Black and his elites. And we're going to see if he's able to take out the Razorgore herds. Ark in the Black able to uppercut one of those pigs right there. And are the Beastmen going to hold? I mean, everything's crumbling right now, but I mean, you can't really run away. I mean, if you turn your backs to some of these guys, you just got to fight at this point. 12 leadership on this one, 26 right here. Absolute lunacy as the Razorgore herds do break off. But, I mean, Necrotechs, how much armor do they have? 50 armor. Ark in the Black has 90, so he's a bit of a tougher cookie to crack, but it looks like he's crumbling. Negative 28. I mean, he's fully surrounded, very beat up at this point in the game. And down goes the cackling Necromancer Lord himself. So are these Necrotechs going to be able to pull this game out? I mean, there's a slim chance, perhaps. I don't know. The bounce of power is still like just barely in the favor of the Beastmen here. 270. Yeah, the crumbling's big, and it looks like they get slapped up there. Yeah, the Beastmen get some nice shots as the pigs are coming back in with the steel tusks. And there they go. That's going to be a Beastmen victory. Well played to Flying Taco and Hubert J. Farnsworth. That was an outstanding game to cast. Incredibly fun. I was like, wait a second. It's not going to go back again, is it? No, it's not. But, yeah, man. Great game. Well played. I think that's a pretty hard matchup for the Beastmen. Flying Taco's use of the Vile Tide, 122 kills there, and just, the Gore Herds are just incredibly cost efficient there. And having the Spear Chaff mixed in against USHABTI was quite good. It was just a great game. Both players played really well. And I was really surprised Hubert was able to come back, but some really good timings with his summons and Spirit Leech play was solid. But yeah, man, that was a fierce one to say the least. And anyways, the story I was going to tell you, I actually remember for once. Usually I forget if I say something during the game, but I'm kind of fresh right now. Is when I was when I was when was this? God, this would have been. So it was back when my channel was probably I was living in Poland. So my lovely wife, Lady Turin, is from Poland, and obviously at the time, we were in the process of filing the fiance visa and getting her over here to the United States. But at the time, she couldn't come over to the States to see me. So I went to Poland for 3 months on a tourist visa. So I'm allowed to be there for 3 months. So we rented a little cabin in the forest. It's like a little cottage out in the forest, and it's near her family home. And in this forest, it's actually like a true, swamp forest in the truest sense of the word. There was pigs who would come truffling at night, like hogs, like things like that. So at night you would go into the forest and the pigs would go truffling. I would assume for mushrooms or whatever the hell else they eat. But I remember one time we were actually walking Anna's dog, which is like a big German Shepherd, and we were walking through the forest, and it was like 8 or 9 at night, and it was so cool, fun. It was like oh, we better get home before the pigs come out, because if the pigs, they're big, right? They're not. These aren't like little, like they're real hogs, and if they actually like get the dog's attention, the dog goes out there, and it can be a bad situation for the dog. So we were coming back, and we actually, one of the hogs saw us and kind of saw the dog, and I think it was rather territorial, because I think it had some piglings nearby, or whatever the hell they're called. And what do you call like tiny pigs? I don't even know, but yeah, we got chased back to our property by some hogs. I mean, it was a very long-winded story, probably not the best kind of final punchline, but just wanted to express that I have been chased by such beasts, and it is most certainly terrifying. So, well played to Flying Taco and Hubert J. Farnsworth. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Beastmen vs. Tomb Kings game. We'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.